The central bank governor, Godwin Emefiele, making his presentation and a few comments after that. Let's unveiling his roadmap for the next 5 years, 2019 through to 2024. Let's put some perspectives into some of the things we've heard, the highlights of it, with Robert Omotude, who is the head of research at Afrinvest, with us here at our global headquarters studios. Let's hit the ground running within the few minutes left. What are the key highlights here for you? I'm sure you marked down the recapitalization program for the banks over the next 5 years, or within the next 5 years. So I think this is a long notice, as it were, for everyone to get ready.
Yeah, quite a detailed agenda setting for the central bank. I mean, read out by Mr. Godwin Emefiele there. And I think he started by looking at where he started from, the promises he made to the economy and the market when he came in, to run a CBN that would be apolitical, a CBN that was going to focus more on development finance. He also reeled out some of the challenges he faced. I think as soon as he came in, oil prices started tanking, and I think he forgot his development finance agenda for a while to stabilize the
exchange market,
exchange rate and price stability. Of course, which should be the primary objective of any serious-minded central bank.
But moving forward,
and he has reeled out some of the points, which I can just, I can summarize them in about 4 points. He mentioned points around monetary policy management. He mentioned points around economic performance and growth stability. He mentioned points around his development finance agenda, which is very dear to him. And of course, he mentioned points around banking activities and supervision. We can dissect
and financial system stability. So under the financial system stability and all that is the recapitalization program and the new lending a program or framework for consumer credit in Nigeria. So we can go to shops and have some credit, and we don't have to pay cash. Without mentioning names, you can go to shopping malls, you can go to your your car dealer without putting the entire cash for a new car or for a second-hand vehicles. You can have credit.
A credit system that allows the economy. Development across the world countries run on credits. When there's efficient credit system, it helps to grow your economy. And to the extent that the Nigerian economy is not focused around that, the impact on growth will be sort of minuscule.
If we continue to run a cash and carry economy, because it limits your growth really. If everything is cash and carry,
absolutely. There are people that would not, demand certain products because they cannot afford them. And
cash, what you call cash down.
Exactly, and they can afford to save to get those things. But I mean, there's a credit system. You could think through, things you would have ordinarily done if, there was an efficient credit system. And I mean, after you are done paying, it belongs to you and you grow.
I agree with you. If you look at our informal market, informal economy, and I think this is one area I'm just thinking of my head where it could happen. For example, if you run a cold room for fish and things and poultry and what have you, and you need to change your freezer, for example, you don't have the cash down to pay 300, 500,000 to buy a new one. But it's a credit system. You could go to any of the retailers, purchase a new one on credit, payment, and you can just keep on doing business.
A few of those exist already, but to the extent that we have structural vulnerabilities in the system, again,
a credit bureau to help you.
You can't create credits when you're not sure of recovery. So the few that exist are benchmarked on salaries. So those who earn, salaries, some of them are guaranteed by the HR to ensure that this
salaries are deducted. But for folks who are not doing salaries and who can really go to the banks for what you call a forward credit to the commercial banks. You just go straight to the vendor.
And you pay cash.
Yes,
you pay cash, because if you don't, there are no other means the vendor wants to ensure that you're going to pay back. And those are some of the issues.
Under the DFIs, you think we've heard a few things talk about a double-digit economic growth or GDP, bring the inflation to single-digit, diversify the economy, get youth into the credit program for their creativity. If I know how to play guitar or whatever, I could just there's something in there, and also speaking specifically to education sector.
Yeah, I think it's laudable. Some of the very ambitious program the central bank is contemplating and under the leadership of Mr. Godwin. But again, it is important for us to stress that primarily the objective of the central bank is to maintain price and exchange rate stability. And to that extent, I perceive that there are a lot of distractions to the central bank as we speak because of its bold effort of, making some
interventions.
And I look at what we've done so far. I mean, as at the last count, by my estimate, between the 2014 or let's say 2015 till date, we've had up to 1.5 trillion naira of intervention in different sectors. Power sector, intervention fund, there was a 701 billion
aviation
to his liquidity. There was aviation, and aviation and power sector also,
yes,
which is another 300 billion. We had state bailout, which ran into almost 374 billion. There's the MSME fund of 220 billion, and we are still creating all of these funds, to
the central bank is getting overstretched. Perhaps that's why the governor says, Emefiele says they will have to, this time they have to work with other MDAs, ministries and departments to make sure things work. They need to lift a lot of things from the fiscal side.
I believe that the central bank needs to work more with the fiscal authority, to put some of these things in place so that...
On the fiscal side?
Yes, on the fiscal side.
And relieve the central bank.
The central bank again. And let our policies be clear-cut. I'm not quite sure I got what the governor was talking about, running after those items that are ineligible for FX. To the best of my knowledge, those items have not been banned. Perhaps we should speak to Ministry of Trade and Investment. If you want to ban these items, let there be a proper policy stating that you are not allowed to import rice into Nigeria, for example. To the best of my knowledge, those items are only not eligible for FX. I mean, those are some of the issues, policy things that we need to
You guys have the whole day today, tomorrow, and all of that to continue this. Thank you so much for raising the curtain on this. Robert Omotoday, Head of Research at AfriInvest. But let's touch in with Juliana Olayinka from our London studios. Juliana will be talking to us very briefly. Is trying to unpack the May retail numbers of the UK. It's a blowing in the wind, and of course it's a very busy week for Juliana as well in London with the Bloomberg Emerging and Frontier Markets Forum. Bring us up to speed, Juliana. A big day for our central bank here. What is big on your agenda this week?
Well, yes, busy week in Nigeria and also in London. I must say it's set to be very, very warm in London this week, surprisingly. However, according to economists, Bosun, it was the cold weather last month that prompted the biggest drop in British retail sales so far this year, as British shoppers delayed buying summer clothes, adding to the signs that the economy, struggling for momentum ahead of Brexit, is set for a weak second quarter. We spoke about this on your show early last week, Bosun, that financial forecasters and Bloomberg economists do not see the British economy growing at all in Q2, the 3 months through June. And these latest retail figures appear to be playing their part in this long, drawn-out story that is the British economy. Now, according to the Office of National Statistics, monthly retail sales volumes contracted by 0.5% in May, and in 2018, retail sales in May grew by 2.3%, which is an alarming contrast. Now, this is the second consecutive monthly slide in retail sales, which does not bode well for overall growth. So far, sterling and the British government bonds haven't shown any reaction to this retail sales data. The FTSE 100 got off to a better start than expected, opening 20 points higher, taking its cue from Asian markets. It's currently trading flat right now. Regency Mines is a top performer, up 25%, and For Mining also doing very well, up 13%. In currencies, before the start of trading, the pound rose 0.88 cents against the dollar to $1.26 and slipped 0.17 cents against the euro to €1.12.
Okay, you got a very busy week ahead of you, Juliana. So let's allow you to get on with that. I'm sure you spend some time for us in the afternoon, an afternoon show, to bring us up to speed. Juliana Olayinka from our London studios. And as she spoke about the London market, the Nigerian market is also starting off today, about 0.1% on the NSE Offshore Index as we speak. The early hours. Have a great day, everyone. Have a busy week ahead. We'll get back to you tomorrow, same time.